Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hey everyone, this is Craig here from VAClassroom, and welcome to, this is actually our first event of 2013, and so it's pretty neat to turn over a new calendar year and, approach a whole new year with lots of enthusiasm and lots of things, new things that you can be doing with your business and in many different ways. So first of all, it's great to have you on our time today, and glad to see that we have a bunch of people, quite a good audience here from lots of different parts of the world, and it's just great to be able to connect in this kind of forum with so many people in so many different places, and yeah, it's just a blessing to have to be in this kind of industry. Let me tell you. So what are we going to talk about today? What's the game plan? Well, some of you that have been around VAClassroom for a little while will know that we do talk about productivity from time to time. So a lot of time, it's just for me to kind of hone my own productivity strategies. But also, I know that many of you are trying to perfect this in your own business as well. So what I'm calling today's session is the VAClassroom Productivity Challenge, because I'm going to challenge you to step up your productivity game in your business in 10 different areas, in 10 different ways, I should say. And so as I go through this list that I'll do in a little bit, you may be doing some of them really well, and other things you may need to fine tune, and you might just need a whole productivity overhaul in your systems and the way that you do business and the way that you manage your day and your life. So I'm hoping that this will help you a lot. And it's interesting, when I sent out a survey at the end of the year and I asked people what was the greatest challenge or hurdle that you experienced in your business, and quite a few people said just getting things done, managing my projects well. And that all comes back to this whole productivity and issue. And many of us have what we call productivity thieves or productivity pitfalls that trap us and that hinder us. And so we're going to talk a bit about that today as well. So for those of you that use GoToWebinar or haven't used GoToWebinar, the way that you communicate with me, since you're all muted right now, is through the questions field. You can post your questions and comments throughout the time, and I will certainly be having a Q&A at the end of our session today. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And hopefully you're all able to hear me. So I'm going to start with a question so I can get some interaction from you. Now, this slide I have up here for a purpose. This is a New Year's resolutions. And I'm not against New Year's resolutions, but I think the whole concept of a New Year's resolution doesn't always work very well, because many of us will have great ideas for our New Year's resolutions, as we call them, and they tend to often not get done. In fact, out of the starter gate, we could say we're going to be more fit, lose weight, spend more time with family, work less, travel more, whatever it might be. And very early on in the year, we tend to fall off the rails. So we're not going to use the term New Year's resolution, because I might be speaking from my own personal experience, but I am terrible at fulfilling my New Year's resolutions. I mean, I crash and burn very early on in the whole process. In fact, one New Year's resolution, which I'm not going to share publicly. What date are we at today? This is okay. We're January 10th. I've already failed. I mean, I'm just a week into the new year, and I'm already off the rails with one of my my specific goals that I had, or resolutions, as you would call it. All right, so we're not going to talk about the terminology resolutions or New Year's resolutions. Let's use this terminology, which is kind of the same, but I want you to fill in the blank. I resolve to, or resolve is basically I highly commit to doing this for the new year. So I resolve to do what? To the best of my abilities, as best as I can. And whatever you fill in the blank, you want to make sure that it's a challenging goal, but it's also attainable. That's been a lot of times where I've fallen short, is that I'll shoot for the fences, or I'll swing for the fences, I should say, is the proper baseball analogy. And I will put something big and lofty that I have no ability to reach. And sometimes that can be discouraging. So you want to strike the balance between making your commitments challenging but realistic. And so in the questions area, and nobody else can see this but moi, if you could go ahead and say, I resolve to, and put one thing in the questions area that you're doing in the new year. This could be personal, this could be for your business, but what's one thing that you resolve that you're highly committed to doing this year? All right, so this is your time to go interact with me. So go to the questions area and post what you are highly committed to doing this in this new year. Okay, I'm just gonna grab some of the answers here. Just 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna read some of them out. I hope you don't mind because I'm not gonna use your name, so it's very anonymous. Okay. Okay, create one blog post per week. I've fallen short on this every year. Okay, yeah, good one. Uh, take care of myself better where I can do for others. Yeah, definitely. A lot of times, we want to serve people well. We want to serve our family well and our clients well and our friends well. But if we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not healthy in a healthy place, we're not going to serve people very well. So that's a good comment. Eat more healthy. Amen, sister. I tell you, I'm with you, especially after this holiday season. I have a chronic problem. It's just called a sweet tooth, and it just, man, it's a problem. So I'm with you. So okay, get my business up and running successfully. Yep, that's a great goal, and definitely, you want to drill down and obviously have specific goals based on that. Getting my focus simple and balanced. A balanced focus. Wow, I'd love to have a balanced focus. It's always managing the tension between the different priorities in my life for sure. Taking more action. Awesome. I like that. Yeah, I like that. We can read a lot, learn a lot, but if we don't actually do anything, it doesn't help us, right? Commit to a niche or a niche. Yeah, good idea. Get my business license and oh, I like this. Get my business license and potty train my daughter. Wow. You know what? That might be, I shouldn't say that's an impossible goal. I've had a chance to potty train multiple children, not single-handedly, with my wife as well. And yeah, that's definitely the challenge category. Although, all children aren't created equal, right? So some were easier than others, but yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Good luck. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes anymore. I resolve to staying committed to what I start. Yes, that's awesome. I like that. Complete my social marketing training with VAClassroom. Wow, that's a good one. I like that too. Yes. Complete it and then apply it to your business. Increase my income. Yes, definitely. Get 5 new clients for my business. Develop a broader service package offering. Complete a course that's been on my to-do list for a couple of years now. Yeah, definitely. Professional development obviously is a catalyst to business growth. So you certainly want to be learning and growing, and you want to build that into every single week so that you can be the best you can be, and you can make your business as successful as you want it to be. All right, great. Thank you for sharing all your we're not calling the resolutions, all your commitments for this year. And I said I was going to mention names for the individual that is potty training. You know what? My wife, who manages our support systems, she would, keep us posted. She'd love to hear an update on when that's a big victory when you overcome that, when you hit the goal with the potty training. There's lots of high fiving going on. Okay, we digress. Let's move on to what we're talking about today. Thanks for sharing, everybody. So earlier on in a newsletter I shared just about a few days ago, I came up with a theme word, and we'd never done this before at VAClassroom. Other businesses have. Other businesses have come up with 3 words or the major goal or a new vision. So we thought we'd keep it simple and just have our theme word for 2013. And that word is leverage. And so you might have already seen this, you might have read our newsletter, but I want to summarize this because this kind of builds upon everything else that we're going to talk about today. So leverage is a term, and I'm trying to remember how I defined it in the newsletter, but leverage basically means that you're going to harness or tap into all of your best skills, your talents, all your resources, and maximize them. Leverage what you have in order to build and grow your business and to become more successfully, both personally and professionally. So you're tapping into what we call your assets. What do you have right now that you can further leverage? And often we forget about what we have and the skills that we haven't maybe been leveraging well in our businesses. At least that's been my personal experience. Okay, so leverage. So I covered basically a few different types of things that you want to leverage or areas. You want to certainly leverage your passions. This is a really good one, so that you're not focusing just on tasks throughout the week that you're totally skilled at, but you're not enjoying. So you got to make sure that although every task in your business is not necessarily going to be your passion, you want to make sure that there's a percentage of those tasks, a good percentage that you love to do. Because if you don't, then inevitably you're going to become disillusioned and demotivated, and things will not go well. So your work passion has to be built into what you do. And I know people that make a lot of money. They do really well financially, but they really are dissatisfied with their work. So you could be the richest person in the world, but if you for 40, 50 hours of the week are absolutely detesting what you do, you know what? I wouldn't desire to be in your shoes for a minute. So leverage your passions, leverage your talents. All of you are uniquely created, as I believe, and you have skills that you've developed over the years. You've got transferable abilities from your former careers, and so you want to say, You want to do a talent inventory and say, with all the talents that I have, and you can kind of toot your own horn for a minute. Am I leveraging them in a way that will help me to grow my business? Or am I missing out on certain things? And so, and I think I gave the example in the newsletter. Let's say you're really charismatic and you're great in front of video. Like you're just a person that people would love to watch because of you all have great personalities, don't get me wrong, but some people are really good in front of the camera. They find their home there. So that might be you, but yet you haven't created one video for your business. So that might be an example of someone that's not leveraging internal talents to build their brand and to do great things. Another one is to leverage your client relationships. So this is kind of duct tape marketing 101 from John Jantsch, where many of you will have these awesome clients you work with and you want to add another client or two clients. So don't forget to ask them. Ask them, say, listen, do you have any colleagues or people that that might benefit from my services? That's sometimes the low-hanging fruit, because that's the whole know, like, and trust factor that's built into it. So so they're connecting you with friends that they know, like, and trust, and vice versa. So make sure you're leveraging those relationships well. Leverage your colleagues. And I'm using a leverage as opposed to like use your colleagues. That's not a very appropriate thought. But in a sense, you're trying to tap into your friends in the industry so that, maybe there's things that they don't offer in their business that you do, and you can cross refer. That's a good way of leveraging your colleagues. I know a lot of you do this all the time. So don't forget about your colleagues. That's why you're connected on Twitter with them and Facebook and, other places, is that relationship might lead to an awesome client that may not be a good fit for your colleague, but it might be like an awesome fit for you. So yeah, leverage your colleagues. You're not using them. You're just mutually benefiting each other through cross referrals and things like that. Leverage your social media community. Certainly, you want to be targeted, as we always talk about, with connected to your target audience, your target client audience, the people that you want to work with, and serve them, help them, connect with them, talk to them, get on their radar. And I know people like Kathy Koliakovo, it's a good friend of mine, and an awesome social media specialist. She does this better than anybody. I mean, she has landed so many social media clients just through helping people on Twitter and giving them suggestions on their website and doing all sorts of things. So yeah, never think that social networking is in vain. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to land you 5 clients tomorrow, but over time, over consistently doing this, day in, day out, week in, week out, you will see the fruit of your labor. And I know many of you are already. So that's another area to leverage. Okay, did I miss one? Yes, the big one. And this is the one we're talking about today, mostly, is to leverage your time and your energy. And so this is at the heart of what we're talking about. And this is productivity 101. Because so often, in our life, we all have 24 hours, and it's a fixed resource. There's no one has 24 and a half hours or 25, as much as we would like. We all have the same time, but there's some that seem to get so much done during the day, and they live a rich life every single day. And they seem to find a way to get productive and maybe even work a little bit less so that they can focus on the things that are really important to them in their life. And so that all comes down to productivity. And also, even expanding the capabilities of your business. If you're more productive and you're doing more, inevitably that could increase your income. It could allow you to open up another client spot, or other things, other opportunities for yourself. So leverage your time and energy, and that is what we're going to talk about today. And you know what? Again, we do this type of event, maybe once every year or once every couple of years, but it's so important to to the overall development and success of your business. Okay, let me just grab a drink of water here. Okay, so I've talked about this a little bit before, and I want to do a quick review of this. This is called the Parkinson's Law. And the Parkinson's Law basically means, you'll see this graph here, that, give me an example, I'm at college and I have my final exam coming up and I have 2 weeks to study for that exam. Well, my default, the way that I function, is that I would screw around for the first 13 days and do nothing. And then I would cram, and I would just be like a stealth studier. I would be amazing in those last 24 hours, and I wouldn't sleep. I drink I wasn't drinking coffee back then, maybe lots of cola. And and it wasn't even like Jolt Cola. They had Jolt way back when. Now they have all these energy drinks, which I don't drink. But anyways, I would maximize my time, and I'd go in, and I did pretty well in university. So obviously it worked for me. Not saying that is by any means, that's probably a dysfunctional way of organizing my studying. But nonetheless, there's something that happens when you're given a fixed time. So even when you arbitrarily give yourself a fixed time and say, I need to get this done by Wednesday, it's a drop dead date. Yeah, I can't go beyond it. And when you do that, something amazing happens. You're able to get things done more than if your client says, well, I kind of need this done, this month, next month. If my client says that to me, it's not getting done, or it's going to be like, pushed way back, or it's going to be low on the to-do list. But if they said, this is a high priority, I need this done by Friday at 11 a.m., and you have a fixed time, it's amazing when you give that tight time frames, how productive and effective you can be. So that's a big part of that's the theory behind some of the things that we're unpacking today. So this is, as I said, the VA Classroom Productivity Challenge. And I call it the challenge just because I am challenging you to commit, resolve yourself, that's what the terms we're using, to implement 10 strategies this year to make this the most productive year you've ever had. And again, I know some of you on this call, you are productivity rock stars, and maybe you're looking for just an extra tip or two. And some of you are, let's see, for lack of a better term, and I've been there, so I can use this term, you're a productivity train wreck, where you just are all over the map. And so either way, wherever you fall in the spectrum, I'm sure you're going to be able to pull something out of this. And so this could be kind of a checklist for you. Some of you might say, yep, I've got that nailed. And like, ooh, I didn't think about that one. That could enhance my day significantly. So let's work through these 10 strategies, and then we'll go into Q&A time and get some feedback from you as well. Okay, so first of all, I've talked about this a bit before, but energy management, not time management, is the key to maximize your productivity. And so what do we mean by that? Basically, we all have a certain level of energy, whether it be physical energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy, mental energy. And when those things are drained, we cease to be productive. And so it's not just about managing the clock, which is important. It's about managing how effective am I? How charged up am I about my work? How energized am I? How tired am I? So I know that when I get into a long project and I've worked too long on it and my mind is glossing over, my performance and my productivity are they're demolished. And so just to summarize this real quick, we won't spend a lot of time on this today. Let me just bring up a slide here. Okay, so there's basically four core energy sources that we have as human beings. The first one is physical energy. And so this is saying, am I as healthy and as nourished as I can possibly be? So this is all about sustainability. So am I eating healthy? Am I getting lots of sleep? Am I drinking lots of water? Am I exercising? Am I doing those things in my life that, physiologically give me more energy? And so those are, and we're not going to go, we could spend a lot of time on just that topic, but you know what I mean when it comes to eating healthy, exercising, sleeping, drinking appropriate amounts of water. All of that, if it's done on a consistent basis throughout the week, inevitably is going to give you more energy, which is going to make you more sustainable so that you don't burn out and you don't get fatigue and your performance doesn't dwindle. Because you, as a service provider for clients, you can't afford to allow your performance to dwindle. Because if you are not at your best and you're not putting out the best work for your clients, what's going to happen? Well, the sad reality is they will replace you. And I don't mean that negatively, it's just the reality. So you want to make sure that you're energized as much as you possibly can be. All right, so emotional energy. This is, do I feel valued or appreciated in the work that I do? And this is a good one. This is all about security. Do I feel that my client appreciates the work that I do? When you work with clients that are underappreciating you, that don't see the value in you, that are critical of you, your emotional energy is just dry. Like you're dry, and you feel more insecure about your work. Your confidence is not up there. And we all in our lives at some place, and some of you might be the most confident people in the world, or you feel really secure in yourself, and that is awesome. And I know with my life, in the 30 something years that I've been around, that I have oscillated from being really secure in my abilities to not confident at all. And a lot of times it was because of certain people I worked with, or a boss, and now I've been my own boss for many years, so I don't have to worry about that. But in times in past where you just don't feel very valued, it can affect your emotional energy. And so I think, I hope a lot of you know what I'm talking about, because you might be saying, I hear you. I'm with a client right now that, man, they just drain me. I spent a conversation with them and I'm drained emotionally. And I feel like I need therapy. And I don't use that therapy term, lightly. Well, I guess I'm using it lightly, but yeah, there's certain people that can drain you, definitely. And you want to avoid those people, even if they're a high paying client. It's not worth your overall, well-being to continue with them. Focus. Am I highly focused and energized and creative as I can be? This a lot has to do with breaks, getting rest, getting periodic breaks throughout your day, kind of doing a work detox where you get away from work for a moment, let your energy flow, do something else so that you can start to get those neurons firing as they should again. So, so someone to work at a steady pace for 6 hours straight, they might be focused for the first 30 minutes. And then you could see the on the graph, they dwindle. But by the time they get to the fifth hour, their brain is kind of mushy. So focus is important. And then spiritual energy. And this is, this is more the sense of, when I use that term, more significance. So do I feel a great sense of purpose and meaning in what I do? And when you're doing things that you're passionate about and you believe in, and you believe maybe in what the client's doing and what they stand for, then this significance definitely rises. And so you want to work with clients that align with your values. When you're working with a client, I remember talking to a VA about this when she was working with a client that was doing sketchy things, that was a bit underhanded in some of their marketing practices. This was a large retainer client of hers, but she didn't feel well, or she didn't feel good about working with this client. and she was asking me at a conference, what do I do? And the last thing do I want to say is to anybody saying, cut your income by a half and drop this client, because there's financial implications here. But I did say to her that, you know what, that this client is not a good fit for you, so I would ruthlessly pursue opportunities that would replace those hours, and put someone else in there that you deserve to work with. And so wasn't telling her to drop him tomorrow and hurt her income and her financial well-being. It's more, replace them. Don't let anyone, don't let work, what is the word? Diminish your meaning and your significance. So, all right. So that's physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, and spiritual energy. So look at those. Definitely take a moment even now and say, of those four, how would I rank it? How am I doing well with physical energy? Am I healthy physically? How about emotionally? How about mentally? So you want to look at the area and think, even this year, how am I? If I'm feeling emotionally weak right now, what's causing that? And then in turn, what are some things that I can do? And it might be dropping a client. It might be, spending more time with those people that build you up, that make you feel good, and that energize you, and that they're just a blessing to be around. Okay, so there's lots of different things to think about, and I'm going more in the personal development sort of road right now, but let's move back to productivity. Okay, so a couple great resources. I've shared this one on the right before, which is Be Excellent at Anything, which has been written by Tony Schwartz, who also wrote the book, The Powerful Engagement, or co-wrote the book. Awesome book. And I use a lot of his principles in my teaching and also in the way that I function in my work life. But I read one over the Christmas holidays that I love, that incorporated a bit of Be Excellent at Anything, incorporated David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. You might have heard of that book. And a couple other things into like short little chapters. And it is an awesome book. It's called 18 Minutes. I'm going to feature a couple of what I thought the best strategies from the book were. But I would definitely pick the book up, because he's this fellow, Peter Bregman. He's an entrepreneur, but he now does a lot of writing for the Harvard Business Review, and really sharp guy, but really practical strategies as well. So a couple good resources to make note of as you look to hone your productivity skills over the next little while. Okay. All right, so let's go through our top 10 list. And this is our challenge. I want to challenge you that you would commit to upping your game in these 10 areas over the next, or implementing these 10 things in the next, 30 days. Let's give you a 30-day period to get your whole life together. Just kidding. But yeah, let's give it a 30-day time frame. So the first one is to focus on work that leverages your passions and talents. We've already talked about this, so I won't spend a lot of time on that. But you do have to, at some point, do a passion inventory and say, of the work that I have, what falls into my passionate category, and what falls into my so-so category, and what falls into my I absolutely hate this work category. You want to just break it down. And this won't be too hard. We all know our passions. We all know what fires us up and what energizes us. So just take an inventory of that and then look at your week and say, what percentage of my week is spent on tasks that I love to do? Okay. And I'm not saying all of the tasks will be. If you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or a business owner, it's impossible. Believe me, I've tried. It's impossible to have everything be your passion. It won't, but there has to be a certain percentage, right? So that your work is not just work. It's just something that you love to do. Okay, so that would be the number one thing you definitely want to implement. Number two, set your beep. So what do I mean by that? Well, build in regular recovery times, these mental checkouts. And so in the book, 18 Minutes, Peter Bregman talks about the beep, which I'll talk about more in a moment. But this is where you have a stopwatch beside you, or you've got your iPhone or an app on your computer that you set to, like, let's say 60 minutes. And every 60 minutes, you stop and you refocus and you take a rest and you breathe in and breathe out, and you drink a full glass of water, and you just kind of get yourself in the right frame of mind. Often I miss doing this, and I pay the price as it comes to the end of the day when my mind is just not there. So set your beep, as we call it. Set your clock. Establish a time where you're having intervals throughout. And one of the most popular ways to lose weight right now and get fit is interval training. And some of you might be familiar with it and even do it, where let's say you go out to a track and you start to jog slowly around the track, but then at about a minute mark, you then sprint for 30 seconds. And you sprint for 30 seconds, you go hard as you go all out as much as you can, and then boom, you're back to a slow jog. Then you kind of oscillate between a sprint and a slow jog. And that is kind of how you want to function your day. When you're going all out with your work, you're using every ounce of your abilities, your emotional energy, your mental energy in the tasks that you do, and you're pouring it all out there, and then you break, rest, and just kind of, just unwind. And yeah, there's people that do this really well. And a lot of the reading I've done has been in the sports industry and how athletes do this, and they used to talk about how these tennis players that could play these big, long 4-hour, 5-set matches, and they could still be serving at the same velocity and doing all these things. They had built in this recovery time from when they picked up the ball and they started to make their walk back to the line to get ready for their serve. It's like their whole body went down, like just into this rest period. And then boom, they're right at it at full velocity. So set your beep. Okay. You can tweet that if you'd like. I stole the idea. Well, I've been using the idea for years, but that was part of what I got from that 18 minutes book. But set your beep is my own. I've trademarked that. So I'm just kidding. All right. So set your daily must-do task in the first 5 minutes. And we'll talk about what Peter Bregman talks about, the 18 minutes, in a moment. But this is so important that don't do anything. You'll either do this at the end of your day or at the beginning of your day, but organize your day before you check email, before you Skype, before you text message, before you do anything, before you start a project. Lay out your must-do tasks. What has to get done? What are my drop-dead tasks that need to be done today? And so this is kind of, time management 101, but it's so important and it's so easy to get in your computer. You turn it on. Oh, got 3 Skype messages. I've got, 35 new emails in my inbox, and you're lured in. Oh, I got 2 new messages on Facebook. Oh, someone commented on my Facebook page. Cool. And you're lost. By that time it's all over but the crying. So you want to take those 5 minutes and set your daily tasks, okay? So this is what he laid out, and obviously he covered a lot more in the book, but in one of his chapters in 18 minutes, he talked about this. This is based on like an 8-hour day, let's say. And I know all of you work, probably different hours and probably different times throughout the day. So step 1 is those 5 minutes, your morning minutes. So the time where you're doing that, you're laying out your tasks, your most important tasks. And you want to religiously keep those first 5 minutes to kind of focusing your day. Absolutely important. Step number 2, and he calls it the 1 minute. I'd probably do a little bit more, but every 60 minutes, refocus. Whether it's just going for a walk, taking a drink, doing 10 push-ups, whatever works for you, but refocus. And it might be 5 minutes for you, or it might be 10 minutes. But this is a time to, when we talked about energy, replenish the energy and refocus your mind and get back on track. And then step 3 is the 5 minutes at the end of the day where you're doing your evening minutes. And we'll talk more about some of the questions you can, this is like your debrief on how the day went, and kind of getting refocused for your next day. Okay. So this is based on an 8-hour day, and this is kind of what he classifies as his 18-minute plan. And it can work really, really, really well. Okay, so number 4 is to dump each task into one of the following 4 categories. So once you've built out the tasks, the projects you need to get done, or the tasks, subtasks within each project, these are 4 to think about. Okay, and this is pulled a bit from David Allen's. I've changed it a little bit, but this is from David Allen's Getting Things Done. So you want to look at the tasks on your current list and say, what do I need to get done right now? So those are your MIT, your most important tasks. What do I need to do immediately? like I need to call that client now, yesterday, like a minute ago. And then what things can I schedule out to maybe do in an hour, or I can do on Thursday, or I can bump that back to next Monday. Immediately put it into your calendar and get an alert on that, whether you're using Google Calendar or another cool tool, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, called Wunderlist, which I'm loving right now. So yeah, so schedule it out if it's not something you're going to worry about today. And then there might be the category where you just put into someday, your maybe category, where it's good to have it there because you might want to bring it up and it might move up to something you need to do immediately. But right now it falls into something you got to get it out of your mind, put it somewhere, put it in a someday sort of category. And then the last one is to let it go, which you're looking at tasks that have been sitting there for a while and you're like, okay, this was a good task in theory, but I'm never going to get this done. And it's not an MIT. It's not a most important task. So don't leave it on your to-do list. Kill it, send it to the trash bin, whatever term you want to use, so that you can vet your to-do list and keep it organized and keep it focused. Okay, very important. And I speak from personal experience where my to-do list just gets crazy. And I'm just like, okay, that task was like from 3 months ago and it's still not done. Then it's obviously not very important. So it's either going to a someday or I'm just going to trash it. Okay, so that's a good way to kind of organize your tasks. Okay, so the next one is urgent project first, email second. And this is a no-brainer, but we all fail. I shouldn't say we all. I definitely fail, and I'm sure some of you too, where you jump into your inbox, you get lost in answering emails, and that urgent project that needed to get done today is still waiting to be done. And so often people, really productive people will not even check their inbox until their urgent project is taken care of. Okay, so that's something you wanna definitely think about. Okay, so getting that urgent project done first and email done second. Okay, very, very important. And this is one that this is like productivity, like rock stars do this, where the most important projects of the day are done immediately before you get into the inbox. Okay. Number 6 is to eliminate all distractions when working on urgent projects. Really important. Okay, really important that you eliminate the Skype, shut down Skype. Don't let it beep you. Eliminate it when you're doing distractions. You may not need to turn off your phone or put it on vibrate or something because you may, if your kids are at school, you may need to keep the phone just in case you get important calls. But just eliminate, put it on vibrate. Maybe pop it in your pocket or somewhere that you don't need to think about it or see it. And I'm just going to move my screen here so I can see the other one. And Facebook, of course, I'm not even going to get started with Facebook because it can be a distraction in itself. You want to strategically use Facebook. Don't use it throughout the day. And certainly don't have it open so someone could want to chat with you when you're working on your project, because that'll just hinder you as well. Okay, number 7 is to always batch your regular tasks. Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, certainly talked about batching. This is like email invoicing you have on a monthly basis. Do it all at once if you can for the clients that are retainers that you bill out every month. Your learning, your professional development, so picking times throughout the week. So Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening or someday during the week at a certain time interval, that's when I'm going to learn. I'm going to spend time in my VAClassroom courses. I'm going to be reading blog posts that I haven't read this week. I'm going to take other courses I need to take, whatever. I'm going to read books that I have on my bookshelf that I need to read. Designate a time for that and batch it so you do it all at the same time. People that write blog posts really do, prolific bloggers batch regularly. So they will write 3 blog posts at once and get them published for the week. So batching can be a really, really effective way of managing your week and putting those tasks that you regularly do into a consistent pattern. Okay, so real good strategy to think about. All right. Moving along here. Number 8, one more for email, just because email is so, it's just a time killer. So use email folders and keep your, keep your inbox clean. This is really important. It can be confusing and just unproductive to have 1,000 things in your email. So you can archive it, and obviously if you're using Gmail, it will save and you can search for it later, or use specific folders. You might have a contact later folder or a read later folder for your blog posts, or a contact later folder for someone you need to connect with. And you come back to that folder and you make a habit of hitting that folder before your day ends. And so there is something blissful about leaving your day with a clean inbox. My wife, Kelly, who some of you know, is, I would say, she's not listening to this, but I would say she's neurotic when it comes to cleaning her inbox. Like, she does not like one email in her inbox. It's in a folder. And she could put a clinic on how she organizes folders within our support systems. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal of how she organizes things. And she leaves it always the clean inbox, and nothing gets dropped. I mean, her ability to manage her inbox is unbiased, but it's as good as I've ever seen. And I'll never reach it. As it's like a goal I'll never hit. But I can strive, right? I can strive to get there. So definitely focus on getting your inbox under control. These people that keep and don't take offense if this is you, but you keep 10,000 emails in your inbox because you want to refer to them maybe later or search for them. In Google Mail, you can just archive them and you can search for them anyways. So get them out of your main inbox. And you might use, some people using Gmail or even Outlook use the favorite feature for emails that these people should always show up at the top because they're VIPs. It might be your clients. You make sure that those emails are seen first as well. Okay. Number 9 is to empty your mind on a regular basis. So when you're working with multiple clients, you've got multiple tasks going on, you've got multiple things, going through your mind. You don't want to allow your mind to get overwhelmed like this picture. That's a picture of your mind at times. So you want to make sure you're emptying it on a regular basis, because you'll never be really super focused on any project if your mind is like this. And so you want to dump it somewhere. Dump it in a Google Doc or Evernote, which I'll talk about here in a moment, which is an awesome tool for clipping things from the web and even writing notes to yourself, writing audio notes to yourself. A Wunderlist, if it's a to-do, if it's a task, to dump it into Wunderlist, which I'll talk about here in a moment. And then, or some of you might just be old school and want to just use a notebook. Or maybe you use a LiveScribe pen where you write into your notebook and then you take the notes and save them as a Google Doc or something like that, or save it on your computer. So whatever way you do it, just make sure you're emptying your mind, because it will be your greatest hindrance to being effective with your projects. If you're thinking about, I wonder if that client needs this. Oh, I wonder if that client needs this. Did I forget that? I can't remember if I did that or not. Did I do that WordPress update? Oh, whatever it is, it could, just hurt your productivity, and the project you're working on doesn't get done. Okay. All right, to round it out, this is the end of your day, number 10. I challenge you to ask yourself these questions, 3 questions every single day. There may be more, but these are 3 that I think are really, really effective. Okay. The first one is, what did I learn today? What did I learn? What did I accomplish? But mostly, what did I learn? And really pulling from even those tough days and say, this is what I learned. Even though this day didn't go very well, this was a really good learning experience for me. Okay, so it's good to kind of debrief and see how did the day go? What did you learn? The second thing is, who do I need to connect to? So if you've got a file in your inbox or a folder that has connect later, go to the folder, see if there's anyone you needed to send a last email to, any final call, any final Skype you needed to do it now. And just so you don't wake up at 2 a.m. and like, I totally missed that. I totally forgot to email that person back. So who do I need to connect with? Pause for a moment, think about that. Look at your connect later folder if you have it. And then what are my main priorities for the next day? So you may do this in the morning the next day, but just start thinking about it, maybe sketch them down. What are the things that are going to need to get done later? Look at your to-do list. Is there anything that needs to be vetted off the to-do list, things that I need to add to it? So just refocus. This could take maybe 5 minutes, this whole task, but it will allow you to hit the ground running the next day, and you'll be that much more focused in the things that you do. Okay, so that's the top 10 list. When I send out the recording, I'll have this handout so you can follow that. That's the challenge that I have for you and I'm sorry, I actually didn't make a summary slide. I should have done that of all 10, but I'll have the handout for you. But yeah, definitely think about these 10, and some you may be doing well, and think about the ones that you're not, and challenge yourself to do it better this year, because your clients will love you more for it, and your business will just be flourishing that much more. Okay. Now, a couple tools. Anyone use Evernote? I mean, Evernote is an amazing tool, and I'm not going to demo this one, but you can, if you're doing research for a client, I mean, you could clip blog posts, you can clip, do quick screenshots of images. You can write notes, you can write audio notes, and you can create special notebooks just for a client or for yourself. This is probably the best tool. This is a blogger's BFF, like his best friend forever, is to have Evernote, where they're grabbing like cool videos that they might want to turn into a blog post, or grabbing a cool image they want to use, or different things like that. So Evernote can help you organize all the information that you're disseminating from the internet and organize it into notebooks in the form of video, in the form of photos, in the form of notes. And you can even upload documents like PDFs that you came across. Maybe you read on HubSpot their latest Pinterest for Business PDF, and you want to put that into Evernote. So that you could show your client, or because you can actually create a shared Evernote folder that you and your client can pass ideas back, and it's a wonderful tool. It's accessible on every device: your smartphone, your tablet, your iPad, your Mac, your PC, whatever it might be. So Evernote's a great tool for disseminating and organizing, consolidating all the information that you're accessing. You could be looking at a Facebook post and like, there's a cool article, and you're like, wow, that looks like a good article, but I don't have time to waste any more time. I can't waste any more time on Facebook. Boom, grab it, clip it. It's into Evernote. You can read it later. Okay, so that might be one of your to-do later tasks, is to review Evernote. Okay. Second one is Wunderlist. Wunderlist is one of the top apps on the iPhone this year. It's available on the tablet. It's available on a PC and a Mac. And I have it everywhere, and I am absolutely loving this tool. So just to show you what I have, I'm not going to go into everything here, but let me just move this GoToWebinar window. Okay, so I'm not going to show you my tasks because they're kind of private in terms of my own to-do tasks, but I have some. You can create any category in any list you want. So you can kind of organize by client. You could even break down, if you have 5 clients, you could put the 5 clients and 5 to-do lists built right into this Wunderlist. And then from there, you could then build your MITs, your most important tasks, in your inbox. Put what needs to get done today. That goes into the inbox. Once it's done, you delete it from the inbox and you delete it from the list. And so you can organize all your projects in categories along here, your major projects, your major clients, things like that. And then you move them into your inbox of what needs to get done. What are you working on today? And then once they're done, you delete it. Boom, delete it from the category. And life is good. And so and with Wunderlist, you can set time intervals. So if I'm saying create new webinar, and I want to put a calendar date, I could set the due date here. When I want it to go, it might be a task that I do ongoing every week. So you can repeat it at the same time every Wednesday, every Friday. I can star this if this is a really important MIT, most important task. So yeah, there's so much you can do with this. So much, so many different things that you can add to this and organize your life. This is kind of like a to-do list on steroids. And I think many of you may use different tools, but this one, just for easy access and to really manage all your lists, things like Basecamp just don't have this. I mean, it's a little bit more cumbersome, but this allows you to do all of that. And it's pretty cool tool. So I won't go into all the details of that, but that's Wunderlist, and that's another way to kind of help you manage your most important tasks, your projects, and what you do on a daily basis. All right, with that being said, so that's Evernote and that's Wunderlist, and that's your top 10 to challenge you for this year. And so, hey, we got a few minutes here, so let's go into question time. So let's fire off some questions. Okay, so I'm just going to read some of the comments that have been coming in. Okay, another book actually recommended by Gabrielle was The Power of Less by Leo Babauta, and he is Zen Habits. Yes, he was the blogger. I think he sold it. I don't know if he still writes for it, but Zen Habits. He had a really popular kind of life productivity blog. Another great blog is Productivity Hack, or sorry, Life Hack is another good one as well. But someone asked, what's the percentage of should you be building in of the work you love? Oh, Janine, that's a tough question. I would say if you're doing anything less than 30 to 40% of the things you love, you're going to quickly lose your motivation. I mean, it should be even over 50%. I would say I really love doing webinars and I love teaching and I love creating courses and that's a real passion area of mine. So I would say I probably do that about 40% of the time here at VA Classroom. And I do not like writing I don't like writing autoresponder emails and broadcast emails. And I have to do that all the time because I want to stay connected with all of you. So don't take it personally, but I just don't really like doing it. And so, but I have to balance that with tasks that I do love to do. And I have to make sure that it's a good percentage. So the bottom line is this is kind of more subjective, but you want to look at your tasks and say what percentage of the week is built into those tasks and how can I increase my percentage even 10% for my week or 15% in those areas that I'm passionate about. It will be a game changer for you, believe me. Your satisfaction in the work that you do will grow exponentially. Gabrielle, you're also saying you use OneNote, which I haven't used, which is similar to Evernote. So I'll have to check that out. Cool. And Marie said Evernote rocks. Is Wunderlist only for Apple? No, it's available for PC. It's available on the tablet. It's available. It's an iPhone app. So that's the beauty of it, is that you're out and about and you have your phone with you and a task comes to mind. You're like, oh, I got to get this out of my brain. Just pop into your app and just put it in and it'll all obviously house in the same one account. So yeah, that's the beauty of a tool like that as well. All right, any other questions or comments? Was that helpful for you? Any other tips that you would add? Things that are working for you? Because this is not intended to be an exhaustive list. This is intended to just get your productivity juices flowing and start to do things a little bit more effectively throughout your week. But I know some of you are really organized, and so I certainly might be preaching to the choir with this kind of presentation. So cool. Well, hey, you know what? This is a start of an awesome year for us here at VA Classroom. We have lots of training coming up. We've got a whole new look premium membership that you guys are going to love. And I'm going to actually be calling it a mastermind program. It's going to involve way more coaching, more accountability, more connection. And yeah, it's going to be a game changer for your business this year in terms of how we've structured it. That's going to be released very shortly. And I'm really excited. If you're a premium member now, one of our paid members, you're going to be grandfathered right into that, for lack of a better term. That's going to be a part of what you have, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. And so I'll have more information on that. I just actually shot a video on that talked a bit about the mastermind program. And then the other thing that we have coming out is, and this has been out of big demand, a lot of requests for this. Our most successful training that we've ever done at VA Classroom is our social media course, hands down. We've taken so many people from just starting their VA business to building a full-time income and then some, have teams working with teams. And I should say it wasn't all us. Obviously, it was the person applying a lot of what we taught them, but we were, I guess we were a catalyst in that process. Well, anyways, I have gone underground, so to speak, for lack of a better term, and have been studying social media and implementing things more than I ever have. And I'm amazed at what's happening right now in the social media landscape. And I'm going to basically pour all of that out into a brand new program that's coming out really soon. I'm not going to give you a date, but really soon. This is going to, if you're offering social media services, this is like the best course to take for professional development. And if you're not and you're wanting to get into it, this is the best course to take for professional development. And I'm a little biased. I think we do social media training as well as anybody. And and I think you're going to get a lot out of that. So that's coming up as well, and we got lots of free events and some cool new features we're bringing out. We're right now going through a whole new site redesign that I think you're going to like. We're changing VA Classroom. It's hard. You get into this, we're creatures of habit, and you get used to doing things a certain way and having your site look a certain way. Well, we're just doing a makeover, and so we're bringing it into the year 2013, and I think you're going to like some of the changes we're making. So great year ahead of us. I hope things are going well with you. If you have any questions, you need anything ever, just connect with us at support. We're always here to help you out in any way that we can. So have a great rest of the day or evening, and we will catch up with you very soon. Take care, everyone.